Okay, let's follow up with another deck builder here. I just did Dominion. I'm going to do Ascension next. Get to Thunderstone, but I'm not going to have time for this weekend. I want to get another play in with my wife before I hit that. Now, I don't just have Ascension. I also have the Return of the Fallen. Bought them together. Got a Board Game Geek auction. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on these guys, and essentially it's the same game. You get a standalone game in either case, and you mix it together, and now maybe you can hold more people. Let me go over some of the core components here. So you got a little board. Nice thing about it gives you a sequence of play here. It's got some locations to hold the different cards, but isn't really necessary outside of that. These are cards that are always available for purchase, and a card's purchase cost is going to be marked up here for cards that can be purchased. This isn't like Dominion in the sense that you can only purchase things, though. You can also kill things, and it works very much like purchasing. Shit. Which is to say, for this you accumulate a certain amount of rune power to buy something. For this you accumulate a certain amount of weapon strength to kill something. But there's a difference as to how they're handled. When you buy something, it goes into your deck. When you kill something, you just get a reward from it. And those are going to be scored with this pile of gemstones. We have 1s and 5s here. There's going to be a certain amount of them available in the game, and when they're all used, the game is over. Everybody gets a turn, though. So unlike Dominion, you will never have that, hey, I got an extra turn on you. You'll be able to, play it out so that everybody gets as many chances to score points. There's a number of specific cards that go in the deck. The main portal deck is going to be sitting here, and these are going to generate cards for you to buy or kill, which are going to be laid out across here. There'll be 6 always available. As soon as one is bought or killed, another one immediately appears before anybody has a chance to make any other decisions. You could do some mechanical stuff in between, but and here are some of the different types of cards. You've got heroes, which are going to have a cost. They have an effect here, which takes place. And then you also have this honor. And most cards in the game, except for your starting deck, will provide you with honor, which is just more victory points. So when this pile of victory points runs out, whatever that pile size is for the number of players, then you add what each person's share of that is to whatever values they have on the cards that they've bought and put in their deck. So you have kind of, 2 ways to get points. You get points for buying stuff and points for killing stuff. You don't have specific victory point cards or anything like that, but the cards have different proportional values. And that can be kind of tricky. That got me hung up on my first play, where I was just buying sort of the best thing I could buy in terms of power for cost, and realized that, hey, there's a lot of these good things don't provide you with a lot of honor. You have different factions, and some of the powers will affect just one faction, and this is something to keep in mind. The effect, which is done whenever you play a card, flavor text unimportant, and then an expansion symbol, which lets you know how many copies of that card are present. Now, as long as cards aren't duplicated across different sets, that gives you an idea how rare the card is. Other things you have are constructs, which work fairly similarly to heroes. What happens with them is you pay a cost to put it in your deck, but once you draw it into your hand, and we'll get into the hand and card play, you can play it, but then it stays face up and affecting you for the rest of the game. So for example, this has a power that happens every turn. Everything else is pretty much the same. Monsters, they're fairly simple. They have a power that you have to spend in order to defeat the monster. they have a reward. This is a bonus that happens when you do defeat it. And again, they have a rarity and a specific name. Okay. The big, okay. So on your turn, you do very little. You're going to start with, I don't remember what the breakdown is like last time. I see breakdown here. That's not it. Somewhere they have setup, I'm sure. I really hate all these pictures, but they do make it easier to explain if you know it really well. I'm not saying I do, but each person is going to get 8 apprentices and 2 militia to begin the game. And the apprentices generate runic power, and the mystics are the next upgrade for that. These are sort of common cards that are always available to be purchased. This is a common monster that you can always kill. You're not limited. I have 2 in the deck, but there's an infinite number here essentially, but as soon as they die, they go back. And then these are militia, which are going to generate kill points for you. So you start off with a fairly weak capability to kill anything. If you get both your militia, you could kill a cultist and get a victory point for that. You really have to build up your capabilities to attack. Okay, so you're going to have a hand of cards, and you start with 5. This is kind of like Dominion in that you start with 10 cards in your deck, and you get 5 of them right away. And kind of your initial hand could be very influential as to what you can do. But you don't have everything face up in front of you. You have 6 cards here that are randomly drawn from the portal deck. You don't have a whole set of things to kind of choose how to build your deck as you go. You don't know what's going to be available throughout the game. And there's a fairly large set of cards, at least when you have 2 sets of, an expansion or something to the game. You have quite a bit of variety in terms of what might show up. And then you can play your cards. And when you play a card, you trigger whatever actions it has. Remember, some of these had, some of these had an immediate effect. You play a card, you trigger its action, its effect. You collect up any points that the card gives you. You might get some honor chits immediately, possibly from some cards that come from the pool of honor that's available. Then you can buy heroes, constructs, and these can be done in any order, more or less. You can buy heroes, constructs with runes, and they go in your discard pile. And you can kill monsters, and you banish them to the void when you kill them using strength. The exception is the generic cards and your starting cards do not go to the void. It's not really clearly spelled out, but if you do it, it makes it annoying to clean up. So, and I don't see much advantage to doing so. There's a few cards that allow you to play with the void, but you probably aren't interested in there being garbage in the void. Okay. Then all the heroes that you played this turn and whatever cards you have left in your hand get thrown in your discard pile, and you get 5 new cards, and if you have to reshuffle, you reshuffle. And you just keep doing this until somebody kills off this pile. Everybody else gets a turn. More gems are available so that they can score. You finish up the round, and bang, then you score it by counting up the gems that you have and these stars. And we're going to get to a quick play. I know this is real short for an intro for me, but there's really not a lot to this game in terms of rules. The intricacies built into the cards, and that's true in Dominion too, but there's more variability in the cards, so you're going to see a more random kind of thing. I think this game doesn't reward sort of the pre-planning, sitting there looking at all these stacks. It does still have the same shuffling issue though. You start off with only 10 cards and you're constantly going to be shuffling. But I think player turns tend to take a little bit longer each, so the reshuffling may not be that big a deal as often. We'll see. All right, let's send this up.